Thank you, Zoom. So without further ado.
Okay, so welcome everyone to the McMaster Medical Engineering Designs team's last general info night. This is our third session that we're running for this year. I'm Kevin Pereira. I'm one of the co-presidents for MedT. And the way that tonight's going to go is we're going to have a 2-hour session. The first hour is an introductory presentation that goes over all of the operations of our team. You're going to hear from some of our executives on what we're up to this year. You're also going to hear about some of the specifics of our projects. After that, the first introductory session that we're running for the hour, then we're going to split off into different Zoom chats so you can talk to our many executives and kind of learn more personally about what we're doing this year. If anybody has any standing questions, you can ask now. Otherwise, I'd ask that you refrain from asking questions throughout the presentation and that you listen to what we have to offer for students this year. Sound good? Any questions? Nope. Yep, okay, cool. Then we will start. So who are we? MedT was founded in January of 2019. MedT's goal is to create a diverse, multidisciplinary student-led club and community here at McMaster that stands on 2 specific pillars, engaging students in technical project work and in educational initiatives geared towards biomedical engineering. The reason we founded this team is because we noticed there were tons of teams for racing like Baja, Solar Car. There were tons of teams for space-based initiatives like Mars Rover. But we realized there weren't any clubs that really focused on biomedical engineering here at McMaster. And with the iBiomed program developing, there was a lot of interest. And so that's why we decided to found this team. This is basically who we are. And now Arthur's going to kind of explain our structure.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Arthur. I'm the other co-president with Kevin. So I think like before we joining in the lobby, we're discussing about like the structure. So this structure is kind of what we've come, Kevin mentioned, we've just been a year in the making, but after that year, we learned a lot of things, and this is the most revamped structure that we have. Kind of represents in a way, kind of graphically, our 3 main branches, the official branches really, which represent the 2 pillars of what METI stands for is our, I'm gonna start from, is the way you see it from the right and to the left. We start with like the technical, the technical branch led by our VP technical. Thanks, Kevin. And as you know, we have 3 projects right now kind of subsidizing this branch. We have our prosthetics project, we have the CFS project, and our most recent project in association with Imaginable Solutions, the GH 2.0, this stands for Guide to Hands 2.0. Oh, spoiler alert. That's our technical branch. It's right now at VP Technical. Before we won, it's led by Teresa Estonia. She's currently in a little bit of a leave of absence, but she'll be coming back. And when every general member gets onboarded and ready to go for METI, you'll be able to meet her because she's going to be back just in time for that. For our prosthetics, we have Lauren Miller, our technical project manager, which she'll talk more about the team, and you will be able to meet with her directly in our Q&A. For CFS, we have our project manager, Sarah Abdel Rahman. Again, you'll be able to meet her in the Q&A, and she's also in the talk. And you guys met Liana. You have the pleasure of kind of like meeting her like a little bit, maybe not in general, but like she's gonna present the whole gist of the idea, and it's really her company. So it's kind of who better to present this project. And during the Q&A, you'll be able to talk to our project manager for this project, Kafan Patel. So this is our technical branch. For our outreach branch, which represents the other pillar of METI, which is just promoting biomedical engineering to people that are already very passionate about the field, but also people that perhaps are wanting to be involved with the field and kind of feel it's not like an accessible place. This is the whole point of this branch. We have at the top, VP Outreach, James Park. He's in the call right now. He's going to be leading this branch and all the endeavors. We have our workshop event developer, Tom Dubecki, and our newest member to METI, he just got onboarded very, very recently, our guest lecture event developer. He was here a little bit while ago, but he has night lecture because we're already in lectures. But his name is Mohammed, and he is a very like enthusiastic and eager member. So we're really happy to have him. And on the background, kind of running kind of like backbone of like all the administrative components, we have our admin branch, which is an informal branch that we have, but this is constituted by our VP marketing, Anita Sienda. She's a 2nd-year student. She just joined us as well. She's one of our newer members. She's going to be leading the aesthetic portion, so making everything that METI creates look fantastic. We have Shyla Henry in our VP communications role. It's fairly self-illustrative. She just communicates everything that is METI to the outside. And David Yang, which I'm not sure if he was able to make it, but he's our VP finance. So he is the guy that knows all about the money. And last but maybe not least, we have the co-presidents, Kevin and I, leading the entire organization. So we're really happy to have this, and really looking forward for you to join our general member teams.
Sounds good. So again, with this year, we wanted to put the disclaimer out at the beginning of the presentation. COVID-19 is something that we've all been dealing with, especially with online classes and a lot of change to our daily lives. And so in the upcoming year, MedT is dedicated to engaging students in a way that respects social distancing guidelines and doesn't put you in a situation where you might feel uncomfortable. Your health is like our first concern and your safety. And so our team leads and all of the executives at MedT are going to try to do our best to allow operations to continue in a socially distanced way. So if you have any questions or concerns, if you do become a general member, you're more than welcome to come and talk to any of our executives about how they plan to deal with COVID-19 this year. Or you can come and talk to me and Arthur, and we'd be more than happy to kind of put to rest any of your fears. So with that, now Arthur's gonna talk about some of the stuff that we did last year.
Yeah, thanks, Kev. So as mentioned, we've almost feel like we've been running for longer, but it has been 1 year, 2019 to 2020. And again, who would have imagined? So start from the beginning, as Kevin mentioned, we started talks about creating this club early January 2019. And during the summer, we really kind of went into it and decided to like start a whole MES team. And it's definitely a very involved challenge, but something we were really excited to do. And we were really passionate about like the commitment to what MIT can offer to the McMaster community. So to begin with, we're just kind of showcasing our outreach events because this is what we aim for. Again, the outreach branch main mission is to engage and kind of like incorporate people that may not have considered biomedical engineering as a prospect career, maybe getting a little bit more interested in providing an accessible route, accessible entry point. So maybe they could further develop their skills, and who knows, maybe they can find a passion within it. So last year we ran one workshop, the CFD simulation for in vivo blood flow. This simulation was run through like an online free simulation software called SimScale. It was a very exciting workshop to develop. You'll see there's a picture of me kind of being excited about math and simulation as usual. We also have one guest lecture. We showcased an alumni from McMaster and what used to be a current student that just recently graduated, like both amazing people. And what we really wanted to showcase was how they got to where they are, both involved in a very different paths, but both involved in biomedical engineering. So you're really kind of showcasing how you can get in it, even if you've never thought you would be able to make it. So it's kind of like bring a little bit of face and a little bit of humanity to the field. And our year-end showcase, as we all know, COVID-19 struck around March, kind of really got bad at that time, and this kind of hindered what was going to be our second workshop. And again, our year-end showcase, which is something that we definitely want to have this year. But the picture that we have here, we were able to attend just in time the biotech conference in Waterloo with a lot of our members. You'll see some of the remaining members in this image. Some of the remaining members are now executive members, and we still have kept a lot of those members with us. So that was a very exciting thing. So that's a little bit like a snippet of what MedT was last year. Again, it was a challenge, but it was a really fun thing to have. And we're always looking to grow. It doesn't matter that COVID-19 is still with us. We're ready to take the challenge and follow all guidelines to be successful. But in spite of that, we still want to make MedT bigger, stronger. So Kevin will kind of talk a little bit about where our ideas for going further this year.
So thank you, Arthur, for kind of rehashing what we did last year. I think one of the biggest things this year is last year we became a McMaster Engineering Society affiliate team / club. And so that is more of like a probationary period where you work with the MES to kind of develop your team. This year, we're kind of going for and vying for full team status. And so that's one of the biggest goals that we have this year is becoming an official club and team with the MES. Something else last year that we didn't have was a lot of robust sponsorship opportunities. We partnered with the Engineering Co-op and Career Services Office and received some funding there, and obviously a few donations here from some of our supporters. But this year we're looking to have a more robust infrastructure in terms of sponsorship and working with our VP Finance to acquire funds for our team. As you can see, we have 3 amazing technical sub-teams and an additional outreach sub-team. So there's a lot of financial need there. Something else is we had 50 members in our team last year. 73 people applied to MedT in its inaugural year, which was great. but we're looking for more applicants this year, and we're looking for people like you who would be interested in joining us and kind of pushing forward all of our initiatives. So in the upcoming year, we're looking for a lot of growth. We're looking for a lot of sustainability. A lot of our executive members are leaving, so we're also looking for people to join our executive team. So if you're looking to get involved in the McMaster community, you want to learn about biomedical engineering, this is the team for you, and we have a lot to offer. So now I'm going to pass it off to our VP Outreach, who's going to talk a bit more about our outreach branch and what they're planning for this year. I welcome James Parks.
Thank you, Kevin. Hi, everyone. My name is James Park, and I'm the VP Outreach. This school year, we'll be having 2 workshops, which will be further discussed later in the presentation by Tom Dubecki, our workshop developer. We will also be having 2 guest lecture events, an online initiative, and a final showcase in March. Mohammed Riaz, our guest lecture event developer, was unable to attend our info night due to conflicting schedules. So moving on, let's discuss our goals as the outreach branch. Our goal is to promote the field of biomedical engineering through team activities and initiatives while providing students with the best opportunity to grow and learn about the fascinating advancements of biomedical engineering. Ultimately, we hope to better prepare students to strive in their future biomedical engineering career from the technical and the transferable skills developed through our events. In the next slides, Tom Dubecki, our workshop developer, will discuss about our workshops. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, James. Yeah, so I'm Tom, and I'll be the workshop developer for this year. So these workshops still feature many of the research elements of the technical sub-teams, but with the explicit goal of presentation and communication to the student body. So we have 2 workshops that we're going to run this year. So the first workshop takes place on October 7th, and we'll look at the development of tools that have applications in interpreting data in industry, namely in the field of bioinformatics. So both outreach branch members and students who attend these workshops will learn about the basics of the coding language Python, as well as how to do things like import and use libraries from R, which is another coding language geared more predominantly towards graphics and statistical computation. Members and attendees will also learn about Jupyter, which is an open source web-based integrated development environment, or IDE, which is useful for modularizing code and allowing the user to import libraries from other coding languages rather than having to convert from them between files. We will touch on COVID-19 and its mutations and why mutation rate is an important characteristic to understand. We will also look briefly at the random forest technique of machine learning and use statistical models to analyze growth of infection rates, death rates, and recovery rates from a code that will simulate a COVID-19 outbreak in a sample population. This will be accompanied by some visuals as well, kind of what you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. Released in parallel with this workshop will be what we call our prerequisite or onboarding docs. These will help you to take a look at so you can start to form more of a knowledge base about some of the more advanced applications of bioinformatics, like, for example, how the field of bioinformatics draws heavily from microbiological technologies such as genome sequencing, analysis of DNA microarrays, and proteomics, which is just the study of proteins, so that we can draw parallels to our workshops. That's more complementary to our workshop. Next slide, please. So the second workshop takes place on February 18th and shifts direction slightly into the field of solid modeling and data quality in creating a sampling process to verify a design. So any company that mass produces a device will have some kind of quality control processes in place to ensure the integrity of their final product. Members and attendees will have the opportunity to learn about what a sampling plan is and how it fits into the quality control process. So things like what is normal distribution, zero acceptance failure criterion, ISO standards, things like that. So there will be a transferable element of data set analysis between the workshops. But what's cool about this one is that the members will actually get to model a medical device, which is, like in this case, a stent, on SolidWorks, and use free simulation software called SimScale to help generate some data. After constructing the 3D model, we can actually simulate the loading conditions. So I chose the loading conditions of a 3-point test shown in the bottom left corner. And you can do things like configure a mesh that lets you analyze how the stent would deform. So if you're a general member, what you would do is you would help with the curriculum development and presentation in these workshops, as well as you getting a chance to learn more thoroughly about all the information communicated. So members will help proofreading and troubleshooting and things like media and marketing that goes in and around some of these workshops as well. That's everything. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tom. Something else that I'd like to mention is that all of these events will be kind of dealt out and presented to the general population of McMaster. And so as a general member, you kind of get a front row seat to these events, and then you get to present it to your peers. So it's a pretty exciting opportunity. Now James will kind of go through the guest lecture events in place of Mohammed, who is currently not here.
So the first guest lecture event will introduce students to different areas of biomedical engineering, such as medical devices, tissue engineering, biomechanics, computational modeling, and many more. Some topics of discussion may include cardiology devices designed to help physicians deliver treatment, the production of medication, which stimulates the growth of stem cells, orthotic devices including hip and knee replacements, drug delivery, and diagnostic tools. Ultimately, this event promotes the growth of biomedical engineering and introduces the topic. It also brings together hardworking and passionate, innovative students to succeed in the workplace. So moving on to the second guest lecture event. Second guest lecture event will share tips for becoming a successful biomedical engineer, including what students should start doing and should start avoiding. These include the technical skills that will help you excel in the field. The guest lecture event will not only guide and teach students the necessary skills and knowledge to better prepare themselves for success, it will also allow them to network and build relationships with potential co-op employers. So the outreach branch will also be doing an online initiative, which entails researching topics pertaining to biomedical engineering, such as cellular and molecular biology, bone biomechanics, biomaterials, design verification, and diagnostic software to expand or review our knowledge. Upon research, students will create research posters and creative videos called Med Talks to educate about multidisciplinary field of biomedical engineering. Students will also document their work and progress on the workshops and the guest lecture events on the MedT website to showcase their work. It's like an online portfolio. We will also be creating promotional posters and videos to market our events on our website. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, James. So in terms of the numbers for the workshop and event planning, for the workshop development, Tom is looking for 5 to 6 people, and people of all departments are welcome. For event planning, James and Mohammed are looking for 3 to 4 people, and in total, we're looking for 8 to 10 people in our outreach branch. Something else to be noted is if you're really keen to learn, these numbers are kind of our projected targets, but if you talk to our project managers, there may be extra space if available. So please do apply. Now Arthur's going to talk about some of our technical projects in a brief overview, and then you'll hear directly from our project managers how we're going to be running this year from the technical branch. Go ahead, Arthur.
Kevin. So as we kind of mentioned before, going over the organizational structure of the team, we have 3 main technical sub-teams that will each undergo its own very unique, very challenging in its own right project. First of all, we have our kind of going from left to right, prosthetic sub-team, along with the cardiac functions simulator sub-team. Those 2 teams are the ones that we started last year, and they've kind of kept on going since last year, and they're just kind of growing and growing in complexity and in challenge and also like in impact. So the prosthetic sub-team, the whole idea of this kind of team is starting from like a project that most people kind of, I feel like developing a prosthetic hand has become a very common do it yourself, kind of do it at home kind of project. But what we really want to have for this project is really showcase the growth of what we can become from something basic like a do it yourself project to going further and further. So this is a growing project. The lead of the sub-team right now is an extremely experienced person, and I know she's going to take this very far. But the whole idea of this project is to start small and see how far we can take just a simple idea of a prosthetic and how far we can do it given our resources as an undergraduate team. So I think the growth potential of this sub-team is like maximized, more so than any other team. The cardiac function simulator sub-team, that's always a mouthful to say. So this project is very pioneering. Again, the cardiac function simulator, that just whole word is just as complicated and challenging of a topic as it sounds like, but it's definitely a topic that is at the forefront of current research and development, medical kind of like technologies and designs. The whole point of this is to develop, the way I want to kind of showcase it in very layman's term is like, you never want to have to open someone to understand what's going inside them. That doesn't really sound, it doesn't sound like a great idea, especially for the patient. The whole point about the cardiac function simulator is to pretty much that, simulate the cardiac function of someone based on their actual anatomical features and geometry, such that we can just kind of image the patient, take it outside without affecting them directly, and understand what would happen. For instance, this particular project wishes to understand how the impact of prosthetic heart valves would, what impact they would have on the hemodynamics of the left ventricle. So this whole project starts from that idea, which already sounds complex enough, and makes it into like how we can actually develop a project like this. It's a very challenging project. It's extremely open-ended because, again, this is at the forefront of what a lot of companies are researching. There's a lot of ideas right now, but nothing close to what we want to aim for. So there's a lot of challenge that we can delve into this project. And again, our leader for this subject is like extremely passionate about the topic, and she's extremely qualified. So I'm looking forward to having a fantastic experience this year. And last but not least, as was mentioned, our latest project, the Guided Hands 2.0, this is a collaboration with Liana Genovese's company, Imaginable Solutions. This is the whole point. The way I'd like to describe it is we're serving as the R&D department for Liana's company, and in improving every single aspect, primarily optimizing the functionality of the current model for Guided Hands, which will be Guided Hands 1.0, to expand its functionality and definitely aim for a larger audience. And just the whole point is helping even more people. So the basic premise of this is optimizing it to allow for stabilization, being it for dynamic means or passive means. So this project is, again, open-ended. We have a current project. We all know what Imaginable Solutions Guided Hands 1.0 looks like, but the whole point of this is creating something new out of that. So it's kind of like textbook engineering problem, how to make something that already is there even better than it actually is. So without further ado, if you know like our previous presentations, we were going to present this order, but right now, because we have Liana with us and she's a busy schedule, we're going to present first of all Guided Hands 2.0 subteam, and then we're going to go prosthetics and cardiac function simulator. So without further ado, give the floor to Liana Genovese, CEO of Imaginable Solutions.
Thank you. So hi everyone, Liana Genovese, CEO and founder of Imaginable Solutions. I am also a fourth year biomedical and mechanical engineering student at McMaster. So just to start things off, Kevin, can you play the first video on the left? So I want to show you guys a video of a boy I met. So his name is Elijah, and in this video, I asked him to write his name. And you can see because of his condition, he's not even able, he struggles to write the first letter of his name. So this is the kind of problem that we're dealing with. There's over 58 million people in Canada and in the US living with a medical condition that affects their hand mobility. So these are people like Elijah living with cerebral palsy, people living with Huntington's disease, ALS, and even people recovering from spinal cord injuries and strokes. So often these people are forgotten. There's not a lot of assistive tools and devices that are available to these people just to help them in the simplest way. For example, writing, something that, you know, we often take for granted. So these people, they have difficulty holding and grasping writing utensils. So for my first year project in the iBiomed program, I created Guided Hands. So Kevin, can you play the video on the right, please? Hopefully there's no sound. Perfect. Okay, so Guided Hands is an assistive device that enables people with limited fine motor skills to write, paint, draw, and even use a tablet or computer, so to help them type and scroll. So Guided Hands is a mechanical device, and it has a sliding mechanism that controls and promotes guided hand movements, both horizontally, vertically, as well as a swivel hand motion. And Guided Hands has been tested with over 150 patients and physicians, hospitals, rehab clinics, nursing homes, and retirement homes across Hamilton. The current version of Guided Hands is just a pure mechanical device. And just with our product as is. We were able to win about 9 awards, one of them being an international award. So we've definitely had a lot of media attention with Guided Hands, but right now we're looking to move on to the next step. So Kevin, can you go to the next slide? So Guided Hands 2.0. So as mentioned before, the existing device is purely mechanical. There's no electronic components in the device, but we want to implement some sort of stabilization into the hand pieces of Guided Hands to further dampen the shakiness or hand tremors that people may experience. So we're mainly focusing on helping people with Parkinson's disease, ALS, people who just have shakiness in their hand. So the project is pretty open-ended. When I say stabilization, that can mean anything. It is up to you, the team. It's up to you guys. So in terms of project objectives and goals, so we want to integrate the stabilization, design it as best as we can, and we really want to have a prototype by the end of the year so we can start testing with patients with Hamilton Health Sciences and McMaster Children's Hospital, who I already have partnerships with. So we'll be able to test with patients, which will be pretty exciting, gathering that feedback, making more iterations, and then hopefully at the end, we will have created a technology that can be patented. So the current version of Guided Hands, I actually just filed for my Canadian patent and my US patent last Friday. So when we create Guided Hands 2.0, all of the work that has been made on Guided Hands 2.0 from the students, if we are able to file for a patent on the stabilization in the handpieces, everyone who has worked on the project and who has provided significant contributions to the project, when we file for the patent, your names will be listed as contributors. However, Imaginable Solutions will have ownership, but it'll be pretty cool to have your name on a patent. Next slide. So in terms of the project timeline, so in the first term, we really want to really enter the design thinking process. We want to really test out, sketch, model all of the different avenues of stabilization that we can incorporate with Guided Hands. And before Christmas, we would like to purchase all of our materials so that after Christmas, we can start prototyping. And we kind of have a little bit of a strict deadline second term because Imaginable Solutions will be launching a Kickstarter campaign. So for those who don't know what a Kickstarter campaign is, it's basically a crowdfunding platform for startup companies. So I'll be working with my marketing team and sales to raise $200,000. So we really want to incorporate the CAD models and drawings and maybe even some animations in the campaign, which will be around January or probably February and March. So we definitely want to hit those deliverables. And then by March, we want to test with our patients, gather feedback, and then also file for our patents. Next slide. So in terms of our team, we are looking for 10 members. That number is not capped at all. If there are people with amazing backgrounds and we just can't seem to cut it to 10, we would love to take as many bright and passionate people as we can. As well, we have mentioned, software engineering, mechatronics, electrical, computer engineering, physics. Honestly, I feel like if you're just passionate about a project, you will learn, you will go ahead and learn to the best of your ability to help contribute. So definitely open to any levels and any disciplines. So yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm not going to be in the Q&A session, but my project manager will, Kathan Patel. So please reach out to him. And if you have any further questions, I'm sorry I have to leave. But yeah, just find me on Facebook or LinkedIn and I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Leanna. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you guys have in the Q&A section later today. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Kathan, Leanna. Awesome. So now we will move on to the prosthetics sub-team, and so Lauren Miller will deliver her presentation.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Leanna. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren, and I'm the project manager for the prosthetics sub-team. I'm incredibly passionate about this topic because I see immense value in bringing assistive technology to disabled communities. This sub-team was created because many commercial myoelectric, meaning muscle-activated prostheses, can cost $20,000 or more. So our design leverages the convenience and affordability of modular 3D printed designs to reduce the economic barrier to accessing our ableist world. Our prosthetic is for an adult transradial amputation with modular attachments. It's designed in SolidWorks, 3D printed in PLA with myoelectric actuation of joints for various grip patterns. It will eventually utilize haptic feedback for fine tuning. Next slide, please. With COVID in mind, our project will run with minimal or no in-person integration and will therefore involve independent work with parts provided to you by me in individual care packages as applicable. The fall semester will involve onboarding and literature review for the new members, as well as some optimization of the current design. The frame will be printed, the electrical schematic will be soldered, and the code will be MyoWare initiated using Arduino servo libraries. The prosthetic attachment system, called the suspension in prosthetic talk, will also be designed. By the winter semester, the prototype will be assembled as COVID allows. The design will be optimized and tweaked, and the prototype will undergo testing to ensure project compliance and to improve user interface. Finally, a showcase will be given and general members can compete in external competitions. Next slide, please. If you're applying to prosthetics, you can specify which divisions you're interested in, which are broadly speaking, mechanical, electrical, and software. I included in the slide some program departments with transferable skills and a preferred program level of 2 or more. But we are looking for students with particular skill sets and interests. So I encourage you to apply even if you have other relevant experience or are willing to do the independent work to catch up. Each division has a lead that has already been selected, and they can help direct you to the right resources if you need more information. Currently, we're looking for about 10 new members. Next slide, please. And here is a quick video tour of our CAD model that one of the prosthetics leads put together, and I hope you find it as interesting as I do.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Price and I'm the Mechanical Technical Lead for the Prosthetics Project, and today we're going to be taking a look at the current state of the mechanical design of the prosthetic. So a few of the notable systems that have been designed are the wrist rotation system, the wrist flexion and extension system, the thumb opposition system, and the finger flexion and extension system, as well as the thumb flexion and extension system. So a few of the notable actuation methods for these systems are the wrist rotation system is actuated by this PM55L servo meshed to this inner half-toothed gear. The wrist flexion and extension system is actuated using a linear actuator, similar to how a backhoe would work on construction equipment. The thumb opposition system is actuated using this contraption. It's actuated mechanically via user input. And the thumb and fingers are actuated using these SG90 microservos, which would be connected to wires which would run the length of the arm, and they would attach to the fingers through these troughs. So there's still a lot of work that has to be done on the arm, notably in designing the palm, redesigning some of the thumb parts, just making it a little bit smaller, and working on the size constraints within the arm to make sure that we can fit the Arduino, the batteries, and all the necessary motors that we need. So the goal for this year is to be able to fully 3D print and assemble the arm with or without the pylon so that we can get a real sense for its weight and how it looks, how ergonomic it is, and how realistic it would be to assume that could be attached to an amputation. I look forward to working with all of you for the rest of the year, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Leanna. It was a great video and a great demonstration of our, Lauren? Yeah, Lauren, for your the prosthetics team. So now we'll pass it off to Sarah, and she'll talk about our cardiac function simulator subteam.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Lauren. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
I'll take the silence as a yes. Okay, my mic wasn't working before. Okay, so cardiovascular functioning simulator. That is a very big word, or word should I say, but has a lot of meaning behind it. So essentially, what currently exists is that there's only a one-size-fits-all cardiovascular functioning simulator that doesn't actually accommodate to the varying conditions seen from one patient to another. So in order to properly validate cardiac medical devices, we need to create a standardized patient-specific CFS that can take in different parameters from different people. So my heart has different parameters than someone else's heart, than Kevin's heart, than Arthur's heart. And so we want to be able to play with these different parameters and be able to test different types of valve sizes within our cardiovascular functioning simulator. So different goals that we have working on this project vary from creating and exploring different valve sizes, chamber sizes, flow rate timing, and image-based input control values in order to create this system that would actually represent our heart. Another thing that we will like to explore is to create an open line of sight within all fluid flow cavities for use of optical-based velocimetry. Another thing that is really important when it comes to this project is the vibration and stress reduction in order to improve resolution. So we can get an image, but we want it to be a good image. We want it to actually work so that clinicians and other researchers or people in industry can actually use our solution. Lastly, we would like to create a realistic recreation of both global and local hemodynamical outputs. And so essentially putting all these together would create our cardiovascular functioning simulator. Next slide, please. So in terms of timeline, this is a pretty big project. And what's great is that we have been working on this project for a whole year now. And so this is the second year going in, meaning that we already have a lot of the foundation already done. So a lot of the hard work has already been completed, but there is still a lot more work to get through. So essentially for the fall terms, what we will be doing is that everyone who does make it onto our team, we will have to do onboarding and get you guys up to speed. What's really great is that we have already a team of CFS leads, and these individuals are very talented and very passionate and have created different videos that are essentially cliff note versions of what the work we've done so far to get everyone up to speed. Within the fall term, we will be testing different components, such as the SI component, as well as the valve plane, which is different parts of the CFS project. After, we would like to automate certain parts, such as the balloon annulus, and finally complete all of our CAD assemblies and go through different iterations so that when we go into the winter term, we have our final physical designs. We can then automate software suites using different software such as LabVIEW. And then once all those two things are put together, we would then go into product testing and finally showcase our final product. And so that is essentially what our timeline would be for the year. Next slide, please. So who are we looking for to join our team? Now, what's really great is that we need a lot of people to join this team in order to make this project a reality. And so the CFS team is actually going to be the biggest team in MedT because we just need a lot of people to get this working. And so, as I said before, we have different sub-team leads, and all these are upper year students who are just so incredible to work with. And so they range from the valve plane, the balloon annulus, the chassis, as well as the ventricle containment chamber. And so these are different parts of the CFS project as a whole. And so for each one of these sub-teams, we'll be looking for a certain amount of core design as well as systems and instrumentation members. And so if we were to break it up, core design essentially is kind of looking towards people with an expertise in mechanical, mechatronics, materials, while systems and instrumentation is mostly looking for electrical, computer engineering, eng-phys, software, as well as mechatronics. But as Lauren and as a few other people have said before, as long as you show the passion and you want to learn and you have side projects or anything that will speak much louder than what program you're in. So, and that also applies to recommended level. If you're level 2 and above, that's great, but I mean, we don't discriminate. So that is all, I think. Next slide.
Yeah, should be all. Thanks a lot,
Okay,
Sarah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sarah. Also, Lauren, sorry for the wrong name there. But we've heard from all of our great project managers, and we've heard from our outreach branch. And so now something that we wanted to make sure that you guys know is how to become a general member. So we've put posts up all over Facebook, all over our website, and we've created a general member application package, which you can find on our Facebook page and most of our posts, and in the slide deck, which we will be sharing at some point in the future. The two sections that you want to look at in our general application package is the application section and the requirement section. If you look to the table that's on the right in the slides, that's where you'll find all the links to our Google Forms and to a summary of all of the project details that our project managers have outlined tonight. If once you've kind of read over the entire application package and you've filled out your form, you just have to wait for one of our project managers to reach out to you for an interview. Our application or recruitment timeline kind of closes out, and applications close on September 11th. So really try to get in your applications before this Friday. A lot of our interviews will be held either the 13th and the 14th this weekend, and the team list will be released on the 14th of September. Other than that, the other thing that we really want is your feedback on this event. This is our second year running, so there's always room for optimization and improvement. So tell us how we did. How great was this event? Did you enjoy listening to us for the first hour? If not, you can kind of fill out the Google form link, which is listed here. Arthur will be posting a link, a copy of this link in the video chat, and you can definitely try to fill that out at some point today. Your feedback is much appreciated. With that, thanks for listening. And so now we're going to kind of break out into the second portion of this meeting, and Arthur will kind of talk to you about that.
Yeah, everyone. So thanks so much for listening, for staying with us. Again, we wanted to make this meeting not the entire hour because we want to give you more time to meet our particular subteams and get to chit-chat with them a little bit more closely. Again, the Q&A sessions are a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more informal. So definitely go again, have your questions ready. Our PMs and our VP Tech and our event developers are ready to engage with you. You'll see in that document that I just posted in the chat that there's 5. So if you want to talk with any member of the admin branch, particularly Kevin and myself, but also any other member of our admin branch that can make it there, feel free to reach out. We would be happy to talk to you about anything, but we usually feel that you guys might be more interested in talking to our actual subteams because they are the actual real deal of MedT. So all access information should be in the document. I recommend you to keep that open on the side so you can go from chat room to chat room. Our moderators will be kind of ready to let you in. And last thing I'll post in this message is, as Kevin mentioned, our feedback form. Again, we really appreciate your feedback, and we know we can always do better. And we really want to do better for the community, for all of you guys, but also for our sake. We definitely want to improve constantly here at MedT. So thank you everyone for listening. I'm gonna, maybe one of us is gonna stay here for a bit longer if you have any pending things while you move from chat room to chat room. But that concludes our introductory presentation. Thanks so much for listening, and we hope to see you in our Q&A chat rooms.
With that, I'm gonna end the recording now. So if anyone does have any questions, just wait till I